I'm your host, Gina Darling, and next to me is this strapping young man.
I'm Iffy Whityway. We've been a part of this community for a long time, and we know.
Somehow, I doubt it. Or we have a very different notion of what a long time is. Hello guys, I'm your host, Mr. Max, and I hope you're all doing well. I wanted to comment a bit on this stream that Watsy made, D&D Direct. And it aired last week, and I wanted to talk about it with Max Liard of Legend of Myth on the Friday Night Chill stream, but Max only wanted to cover the VDT part of the stream, which frankly was the least egregious part of the event. By the way, I was on the Chill stream on Friday, so it was a lot of fun. I'll put the link in the description box below. Also, I'm not gonna go through the whole event here. It would be too long, so I'll just skip around a bunch. The whole thing was absolutely pure cringe. So you got those two hosts here, a black guy and an Asian broad. Can maybe play in mute. And they begin with we've been part of this hobby for a very long time. And like I said, somehow, I doubt that. I doubt that either of those two were in the hobby before 5th edition. And in fact, I would even doubt that they were early in 5th edition. Those guys are not that old, and I doubt that they start playing at 10-year-olds like many of us. Maybe the we they use is a representative of all the blacks and all the Asian and all the women. They're not speaking just for themselves using this we, but for all the minority they represent. But what's here is using those two people in this line that is clearly scripted to promote the idea that the RPG community is very diverse. It's the whole like Kyle Bring line about the face of the hobby no longer as being a straight white male. And I'm not saying that the hobby is only straight white men, of course it's not, and it never has been. But it's still always, and it always been, still is, overwhelmingly straight white male. That being said, Watsy, being a corporation, they certainly want to grow their consumer base. And if they know that there's this mostly untapped market of minorities, yeah, sure, they might want to cater to them. I don't really have any problem with that, but I doubt this would be very successful. Trying to get people to participate in the activity as involved as RPG is not the same as selling sneakers. Clothing is something that we wear on the outside. It's a way that we express our identity that is very superficial. So it's fair game to sell the idea of your brand based on superficial stuff. And it's easy to just go to the store and buy the shoe, or I guess just walk out the store with them, I guess, nowadays. But RPG is something you do. And it can also become part of your identity, but it's much more involved. So I think you need to adopt a different marketing strategy for this kind of activity. If you're trying to sell them to people who are not involved in the hobby, because selling a game or a new edition to someone who is already a role-player game is also another matter. But trying to get people to join the hobby based on, oh, they look like me, I don't think this will be like very successful. And the whole thing here feel like so disingenuous. And I don't know if those guys are supposed to be somebodies. I don't know who they are. I feel like they're just people who responded to a casting call on Craigslist. I'm sure Watsy could have like found better people that would have felt like a little more natural. Let's give them a chance and look a bit more of what this stream has to offer. After this is only the opening bit. I'll go back a bit because they actually made an announcement before introducing themselves. So if I go back to the beginning here, at the opening of the stream, yeah, they were announced like a Minecraft collab. And I got nothing against Minecraft. I played some Minecraft myself. I don't really see what it has to do with D&D. And yeah, it's just a collab. But I don't know, it doesn't make it sound like they are targeting very... Like, it makes it sound like they're targeting a very young player, I would say. Minecraft can be played by people of all ages, but it's not often played. But it's often played like in a very different manner if you're young or if you're older. And this collab announcement certainly doesn't speak to me. And this is going to be the theme of a lot of this presentation. And this is what I wanted to talk about. The impression I get from this stream, except for almost dying of cringe, is that WotC was really saying, we don't care about you anymore, Grognar. We are ready to leave the old guard behind. We only want to cater to this new, hip, younger crowd. And I cannot say that this broke my heart, because we already knew that WotC didn't care for us, people who have been in the hobby for a long time. But where I think WotC is making a mistake is that I believe that there's a lot of people joining the hobby that are normal people. It's probably the majority of the people joining the hobby. But they're not out there on Twitter making demands and being super loud. They just game with their friends, and most likely, they engage with the game in a very similar manner than we did and that we do. And by leaving us behind, they'll also leave them behind. We have a long history in the hobby, and we played all kind of game. So if WotC doesn't want to serve us anymore, that's fine. We'll go elsewhere. But the people that just joined the hobby somewhat recently, and they see that the hobby turned into like this kind of a cringe, maybe they just go find another hobby. Or the regular guy, someone who is not on Twitter, like is not a Twitter weirdo, that would be interested in playing D&D. Maybe saw it like on Stranger Things, or maybe an older cousin told him about it. But now he'll see that cringe, man, he'll run away. And then they show the trailer for the D&D movie. I'm not gonna go over that here. And after the trailer, like I'm not gonna watch the movie. I don't really care, to be honest. But after the trailer, there's a little more cringe acting by the host there, and then there's this musical number.
So what do you say? Interested?
I don't know. I'll think about it and I'll get back to you.
Oh, okay. Well, no worries. We can talk about it later.
So you want to game with your friends, but they are all new.
What the hell is that? Fucking Catboy. And we see later in the clip that he's wearing like tie-eye socks. And there's a link in the song where he goes like, oh, you can even like smooch a king. And it's amongst other things that he said. I don't want to make it like much a bigger of a deal than it is, than what it should be. But it's something that I've noticed being seen in thread on Twitter and in comment on some of my videos that went outside of my regular audience. The new crowd seemed to be focused much more on romance than we used to. And the mention of like a ERP, like erotic roleplay, came up more often than I like. This is just weird to me. We wanted to kill monsters, save villages, and be heroes. But there could be some romance story happening, but that wasn't the background stuff. But now it seemed to be brought to the foreground quite a bit. And even when you look at adventure, like you got like stuff like the prom night at Strixhaven or whatever the name of that shit was. And did the youth of today lose their taste for violence and heroism? Or are they just after like romance and erotism? I know they're much more faggy than we used to be, like, and the society now is become obsessed with sex and sexual deviancy. But then you look at video games, and video games that focus on this kind of stuff, they don't do well, especially not compared to those who target more traditional emotion and depiction of people. And even when this Twitter crowd make a fuss about like a video game like Hogwarts Legacy, it gave a boost to the video game. And maybe it's the bane of the RPG, you know, like a video game costs much more to produce, so the big studio will try to cater to the mass, or they'll be in trouble if they don't. We can see that with how Ubisoft, they went woke quite a bit, and now they're going broke. And activists tried to ruin video game, but they got some backlash. So now it looks like they redirected their aim to smaller industry that they can affect more easily, like comic books and role-playing games. And oftentimes those smaller industry are seeds for bigger one like movie and video game. And the fact that RPG can be produced independently much more easily, and also the DIY nature of them, where someone can still get a game full of woke trash but just remove what they don't like on the fly, maybe that allows the activists to entrench themselves more deeply. Anyway, let's look at the next section here. What is that? Oh, yeah.
Hi, my name is Emily. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the brand manager for Dungeons & Dragons.
Again, someone would introduce herself like, oh, my name is Emily, I use she, her pronoun. That's not a normal way to introduce yourself. And we should never let it become normal. This section of the stream is about toys. And now we really see that D&D is owned by Hasbro, and Hasbro is a toy company. Whatever. I would have preferred if they'd get like decent mini, if anything. And after that, there's like a Magic the Gathering section. And again, I don't care. It's not D&D. It's more of a Hasbro stuff doing cross promotion. And then they talk about the new books of Dritz Do'Urden. And I hate Dritz. I never read any of the books. And I doubt the host of that show did either. But what I hate from those books is what they did to D&D. There have been so many copycat characters of Dritz. If you're a fan of the Dritz series, maybe the interview with Salvatore will be of interest to you, so go check it out. And of course, like they talk about Dritz, but it's also like a tie-in to a video game that they produce. So again, not something that is directly D&D. Next was the part about the VTT, and again the presentation here is very cringe, but this is the part that we covered on a Friday night chill stream, so I'm not gonna talk too much about it here. Just go check the stream we did with Max and the crowd. The link is in the description, like I said. And the presentation of the VTT would have been like much better if it wasn't done in person, like done remotely, like a VTT should be. So I think it was a big mistake of them, like putting players around the table with laptop. It just make it look even much worse than what it should be, really. But anyway, let's go ahead a bit. This is another segment that is again about more plastic stuff. They announced like a life-sized mimic and a baby owlbear. So again, like this is some toy, and again something that seemed to be quite juvenile. And with this like fake news report guy there, that was like an insane amount of cringe. And it's pretty much what I want to talk about. Like there's a segment about then after that about like a D&D documentary done by John Maginello. And okay, I would be more interested in that if it wasn't done by some like Maginello is quite a shill. So now he's gonna feel like it's gonna be like a real big puff piece. And oh yeah, one last thing at the end, they have a segment with Chris Perkin and Jeremy Crawford. So again, now they have the you can barely see it here, but they have like the pronoun in the name tag there and the name plate. So again, that's pretty cringe. At least there, Perkins and Crawford talk about stuff that is actually like that's related to actual D&D. So it's not video game and it's not like toys and stuff like that. Well, I guess if you can call like what WotC puts out actual D&D. But at least what they announce is not about like also the adventures announced not about like serving coffee or going to prom or shit like the Radiant Citadel. And they do announce a new take on Planescape. And if you like Planescape, you shouldn't get excited about that at all, because you know they're gonna ruin it. You know, we see all those remake of stuff we used to like all this stuff we used to like is being remade, and it's always for the worst. So now, like the best we can hope for is that they forget that what is dear to us, so it doesn't get desacralized. But yeah, even when they talk about bringing back Vecna, and you know they're probably gonna make him like a misunderstood, marginalized guy that turned evil because he was like a victim of bigotry or whatever, or because he lost his gay lover or some shit. Anyway, the main takeaway I got from this event was that, like I said, WotC's committed to leaving the old guard behind, and that Hasbro want to sell you toys, and they're pushing more and more into the video game stuff, and D&D is for babies now. But what's new? I watched it so you don't have to. If you are a glutton for punishment, you can go look at it by yourself. I'll put the link to the event in the description below. And I wouldn't recommend it, but thank you for watching. Let me know what got you the most excited in that presentation in the insult section below. And unless it was like the singing cat boy, then please don't tell me. I don't need to know. Have a good day. Take care.